Today I want to tell you one thing about the disease that was at the same time the best thing that happened to me and the worst nightmare I ever faced. The disease I have in mind is nothing different but depression. Everything starts when I was around 8 years old or something. I remember that moment because we moved with my parents to a city, to a new apartment, to a new place where I was completely lost. And I remember that was the first moment in my whole life when I was thinking that I really don't want to go to school. I was trying to convince my parents not to bring me to school. I just wanted to stay home. I don't want to go to other people. I didn't want to go out. I felt totally lost. 9 years later, when I was 17, I was diagnosed for the first time with depression. And I remember that that time my psychiatrist told me that there is a possibility that I have this disease from a very young age, but it never reached a moment of the breakdown, you know. I was taking meds for a few years and I thought that when I stopped taking the meds, I'm okay, I'm fine, that depression is never coming back. A few years ago, I got another diagnosis that my depression came back again. So I started asking questions. Is it because of some trauma? So I supposed to fix this problem on the psychological level, or maybe it's biological problem and my brain is just broken. I didn't know. But because of those two approaches, which sometimes they are in contrary to each other, I started also asking myself about the purpose and about my attitude towards this problem. Because some people were telling me that I cannot get better, that probably I need to live with this problem until the end of my days. Other people, on the other hand, they were like, yeah, you're gonna be fine, soon you're gonna be fine. And I was asking myself, yeah, but what do I think about it? Should I try to get better at all cost? Or maybe the opposite? Or maybe I supposed to just accept the reality as it is. And I remember the moment when I failed with treating this disease again, because I was changing the meds. I thought I'm getting better, and then I realized that no, I'm not near to getting better, sadly. And I was thinking that it's unfair because my brain is not working as normal person's brain, and when I have the bad day, it literally disables me from anything I'm trying to do. Because at least when you are sick, ill, you have a cold, you have a fever, but at least you can do things, you can force yourself to do things. However, when you have a depression episode, you cannot. You have literally no power. And it was frustrating as fuck. And I remember a moment when I was thinking that that's literally the end. Because a few years ago, I started getting those random hits of thoughts. That maybe this is it, maybe that's the end. Maybe I cannot get any better. Maybe the only solution is, just finish it. Because sadly, the depression is a disease that is fatal. Many people cannot. It's just too strong for them. They cannot live with it. They cannot deal with it. They are leaving us. That's why we're supposed to treat depression very seriously, in my opinion. Because we don't know who around us might be another person who is struggling with literally basic stuff. And the only solution is permanent solution to those problems. But after changing the medicine, after changing the environment, I got rid of those thoughts, and I'm grateful for that. And here we are coming to a point when it started to get better, but through very uncomfortable stuff. Because you see, first always with depression there is a suffering, but I by myself really treat any suffering, any problem as an occasion to change something for the better. And I remember the moment when I realized two things. One thing is about the alcohol, that maybe I cannot drink alcohol until the end of my days, and of course I thought it's unfair. And the second thing was about the medicine. Should I take the medicine until the end of my days? Because when I finally get the medicine that was working really well for me, I started thinking about it like maybe a companion through every day for me. Because at the very beginning I was thinking like, I will take medicine for a few months, I will take medicine for one year, and then done, and I will get better. But after one failure, first failure, second failure, I started doubting that approach. And right now I think like, maybe I need to take the medicine until the end of my life. For 40, 60, 80 years, maybe. Now I think you might get now why I had those thoughts about the root and the origin of the problem, that maybe my brain is broken, because I had these mood swings and the lack of the energy and the lack of the motivation and other stuff since I was really small, since I was a kid. That's why I was thinking, okay, maybe this medicine is allowing my brain finally to function like normal human beings supposed to function, because this is how I feel now. And finally I accepted that, because people with diabetes, they need to take medicine all the time. I have 2 good hands, I mean they are fine, 2 legs, and for now I can function, so I'm grateful for that. Even if it's with help of a pill or 2 that I need to take daily. But the alcohol. You see, alcohol is a poison. We know that. And nowadays more and more people, they resign of drinking alcohol. They, especially Gen Z, at least this is what study shows. Because it's affecting our brain, it's destroying our brain. And at the very beginning I was thinking, of course, that it's unfair, that why I cannot get a drink from time to time like others. Maybe sometimes I want to celebrate, maybe sometimes I want to go out with my partner and drink a glass of wine. But very quickly I realized that every time I consume alcohol, even the small amount, I pay price. And I was paying that price regardless of taking medicine or not. I was paying that price every single time. And the price was simple. My energy, my motivation, my joy of being in the moment was disappearing. Not the day after drinking, not because of the hangover, but it was disappearing from the whole next week. And getting through the day was becoming harder and harder. So I gave up again and said, okay, fuck it. If I cannot drink, let's beat it. And that's why I think it's a blessing, because without this pain of struggling getting through the day, I wouldn't resign. I would probably still drink. And in my family there are many cases of alcoholics, people who ruin their lives with alcohol. For example, my uncle, he died because he literally drank himself to death a few years ago. So I realized that maybe it was unfair, maybe it was uncomfortable, but thanks to that, I was able to resign from something toxic much easier than without it. So at some point also I was thinking like, okay, so what should I actually do? What should I actually do? How I supposed to build my life? And with this knowledge, I was reading a lot of books about the psychology, about the biology, and about this disease, and in general how our brain works. And I realized that everything I knew so far about my life and about how you're supposed to make your life and design it was not very accurate to what my body, my brain needs. So I realized that I need to make this strong foundation. And the only way to survive is building myself from scratch, literally from scratch, gathering all the information I get so far from all the tests, all the experience throughout my life, and from that try to crystallize the foundation for the future. And I'm not talking about some coaching foundation, guys. I'm talking about a foundation that is really a baseline for all the habits, values, whole lifestyle, career, because it's everything connected. Everything is connected. Basically, the foundation for everything. And to some people it might sound bad because they how to build a structure for that, how to build that kind of baseline. It might be really, really hard. But I like building structures because I'm autistic, so that's my strength. And I realized that I cannot figure it out within one day. I really need to do it step by step, day by day, one by one. And every single day I am analyzing what I have learned and what I can do better. Because in this case, it's not about, personal development or something. It's about finding a way that you can literally survive. So one of the things that I realized it's the crucial in here, it's the regeneration, because it's really much more important than work. I don't think I'm workaholic, but I really like working hard because I love my job. I really love my job. And I realized this regeneration is, it's not a phrase, it's not a figure of speech. It's much more than that, because if I mentioned that in the video about the sleep. If I don't sleep enough, my brain is not tired. I'm not sleepy, I'm not tired. My brain is shutting off. If I don't eat properly, also, I'm not bloated and I'm not getting few more kilograms of water. No, I really feel that my brain is able to work on the topics and tasks I have to do and fulfill, or I'm lying literally whole day on the sofa, looking at the ceiling and waiting for another day to start over. So if I want to function on the base level, I need to take care of this regeneration at all cost. And discipline is, I remember that quote I saw somewhere on the internet some time ago, that the shortcut to a success you are looking for is discipline. I really, really like that quote because I agree with that. I really agree with that. And then I also realized that discipline allows me to keep my brain functioning well, because every single task I make and fulfill and accomplish is allowing my brain to produce a little bit more dopamine and making this neuropath where it's supposed to be. So it's like I mentioned before, every single day, small step towards the goal of healthy brain working well. And exactly same as with the food, that the food is a base for the brain to produce neurotransmitters. I wasn't eating any meat for nearly 28 years of my life. I'm 32 now, so majority of my life I wasn't eating meat and my diet was shit. And it's not about having abs or not being overweight, but I realized that I have to fix it again for my brain to function properly. That's why I started forcing myself to eating more protein. I was trying different food like meat. I don't like it, but I found a food that is good enough for me to at least, swallow it. Like eggs and tuna and seafood, of course. And even though I am not a big fan of that, but I am keeping this rule, like add some sort of protein into every meal, because again, it's not about keeping my body healthy for future years, it's about tomorrow, and that's the main difference. So as you can see, everything is a little bit connected, and that's why I'm really grateful for this disease, for the depression that happened to me so early, and literally forced me to making better life decisions, because it's usually like that. Like, we are reaching the rock bottom of our life, whatever it is. Sometimes it's bankruptcy, sometimes it's losing your relationships or whatever, and sometimes it's health. And usually at that point people start to realize that they need to change something, because otherwise they would die. And for me, I didn't feel like I have a choice. I felt like I need to change those things, and I need to make changes like that every single day, because if not, I cannot survive. And if I don't take care of myself enough, one day this disease might hit me really with a force of a truck. And I don't know any human who survives hitting by a truck. Thank you guys for today's video. I hope you really enjoy it, and I hope you get something from my story. Because if you are dealing with depression, try to educate yourself and try to learn about this disease and try to learn about your body a little bit. It might help. See you in the next video. Bye.